As Earth's cities crumbled under the siege of environmental collapse and societal discord, a final desperate plan was set into motion: Project Reclamation. Spearheaded by Dr. Lena Archer, a leading climatologist and a cohort of the world's best minds, the project aimed to preserve a fragment of humanity in cryogenic sleep aboard the spacecraft Reclamation to one day reseed human life on a habitable exoplanet Eden 5. Governments and private entities pooled their dwindling resources to launch the cryo ship into the cosmos, carrying the seeds of Earth's flora, fauna, and a selected group of 500 humans encapsulated in time. These ancients, as they would come to be known, were the custodians of Earth's legacy, chosen for their skills, knowledge, and the genetic diversity necessary to ensure a robust gene pool. As Earth faded into the realm of legends, the Reclamation's autopilot was programmed to awaken its passengers upon arrival at Eden 5, a journey spanning over 30,000 years. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to those aboard, the first settlers sent ahead via faster-than-light travel had succeeded, turning Eden 5 from a barren rock into a thriving colony. The stage was set for a meeting across millennia, where the past and future of humanity would collide. The cryochamber hissed open, a gush of stale, icy air pouring out as the pods disgorged their human contents. Dr. Lena Archer's lungs clawed at the first breath of recycled oxygen, her eyes blinking against the harsh artificial light. Around her, the rest of her team emerged from their long slumber, their bodies frail and movements sluggish, as though gravity had suddenly amplified. "What the hell?" Lena muttered, staggering out of her pod. She leaned heavily against its frosted shell, watching as her colleagues experienced similar disorientations. The chamber door slid open with a pneumatic sigh, and a group of strangers entered. Unlike Lena's team, clothed in the tattered remnants of their old world, these newcomers wore sleek, seamless garments and carried devices that hummed with soft, pulsating lights. A tall man stepped forward, his eyes wide with something akin to reverence. "Dr. Archer, I presume?" His voice was calm, carrying an unplaceable accent that hinted at generations removed from Earth. "Welcome to Elysium. I'm Moran, appointed to facilitate your integration." Lena straightened, brushing a hand through her tangled hair. "Elysium? Integration? We were supposed to land on an uninhabited planet." Marin's smile faltered. "Much has changed, Dr. Archer. Your journey extended far beyond anticipated timelines. Your destination, Eden 5, has been our home for centuries now." The room spun slightly as Lena processed his words. Centuries? How long had they been drifting through the void? Seeing her discomfort, Marin offered his arm. Reluctantly, Lena accepted, allowing him to guide her through the sleek corridors of a facility that bore no resemblance to the utilitarian space vessel she remembered boarding. As they walked, Marin explained, "Your ship, the Reclamation, was lost to us after it passed the Kuiper belt. We assumed it was destroyed. Your arrival, it's nothing short of miraculous." Outside, Lena caught her first glimpse of Elysium through vast, transparent panels. The city spread out like a vision from a dream, its buildings arching towards the sky, intertwined with verdant greenery that climbed and curled around them. People moved through the streets, a fluid mosaic of colors against the backdrop of advanced monorails and hovering drones. Miraculous? Feels more like a damn mistake. You've built a whole society here. Indeed, and your ancestors played a pivotal role in its foundation. You, the ancients, are revered here. Revered, the word echoed oddly in Lena's mind. They were intended to be pioneers, not relics to be gawked at. Reaching what Marin called the Integration Center, Lena braced herself. The building was a hubbub of activity, with people darting to and fro, casting curious glances her way. "Let's get something straight, Marin," Lena said sharply, halting at the entrance. "We're not museum pieces. We came here to live, to contribute." Lena's first week in Elysium was a whirlwind of briefings, medical examinations, and incessant observations that ranged from awe to outright disbelief. Every corner of this futuristic society was a testament to technological advancement, yet for all its splendor, Lena felt an unsettling disconnect. "This way, Dr. Archer." Today's agenda includes cultural orientation, Marin announced, gesturing towards a sleek monorail that hummed quietly on its magnetic track. Lena followed him, her mind a maelstrom of thoughts. As they settled into the monorail, she turned to Marin, her tone edged with frustration. You keep calling this orientation, but it feels more like indoctrination. When do we get to actually do something? Marin's lips tightened slightly. Your skills, while extensive, are based on outdated knowledge, Dr. Archer. Understanding our society is the first step in finding your role here. The monorail glided silently over the city, providing a panoramic view of Elysium's grandeur. Below, the descendants of Earth moved seamlessly with their technology, their lives a symphony of efficiency and harmony. Lena watched, her feelings a tangled knot of admiration and resentment. The monorail stopped at a district that buzzed with a vibrant energy, distinctly different from the polished calm of the areas Lena had seen so far. This is the artisans' quarter, Marin explained as they stepped off. Here, traditional crafts merge with new technologies. It's the perfect place to bridge your past with our present. They walked through bustling streets where artisans crafted intricate pieces using tools that Lena could barely comprehend. At one booth, a craftsman worked with a device that projected holographic blueprints into the air, his hands moving through them to manipulate materials at a molecular level. Fascinating, isn't it? Marin said, watching Lena's intrigued expression. More than fascinating, Lena replied, her gaze locked on the craftsman. It's inspiring. Marin smiled, pleased. Would you like to try? Lena didn't need to be asked twice. She approached the booth, and the craftsman, noticing her interest. It's all about intuition, he said, activating the machine for her. Lena's hands hovered over the controls, the holograms responding to her movements. With guidance, she began manipulating the materials, her initial awkwardness giving way to a fluid motion. For the first time since awakening, she felt a spark of something that went beyond mere survival, a connection to this new world. As she worked, a small crowd gathered, whispering in hushed tones about the ancient earthling who handled their technology with surprising adeptness. Lena was too engrossed to care about the spectators. After a while, she stepped back, admiring a simple but elegant metallic sculpture that bore her touch. It wasn't just the creation that pleased her, it was the realization that her old skills could find new expression here. You see, Marin said, a note of pride in his voice. You are not obsolete, Dr. Archer. Your past is a foundation upon which you can build anew. Chapter 3, Fractures in Utopia. 3 weeks into her integration, Lena's curiosity about Elysium transformed into a critical eye. The technological marvels and orchestrated harmony concealed cracks that not all were willing to acknowledge. The disparity between her reverence as a relic and her reality as a resident deepened these fissures. Lena joined a team working on agricultural enhancements, applying her botanical expertise. The lab was a nexus of innovation, with gene splicing equipment that could have belonged in a sci-fi film. Yet, beneath the surface, the project was mired in bureaucratic inertia and subtle power struggles. Dr. Archer, your proposal to reintegrate ancient Earth crops is intriguing, said Joran, the project lead, as they stood in the midst of a greenhouse dome. But our priorities lean towards optimizing what's already proven effective here. But isn't the point of progress to explore every possibility? Lena countered, frustration sharpening her tone. She held up a petri dish containing a modified seed. These crops were hardy on Earth. They could offer nutritional diversity here. Joran's eyes narrowed slightly, his usual cordiality cooling. Elysium isn't Earth, Dr. Archer. What worked there won't necessarily fit here. The dismissal stung, highlighting the chasm between her old world expertise and this new world's ethos. Lena's resolve hardened. She wasn't here to fit into a pre-made mold. She was here to expand it. That evening, Lena attended a communal dinner, a blend of social ritual and subtle surveillance, where descendants observed the Cryo group's integration. Seated at a long, sleek table, she shared her frustrations with Mika, a fellow Cryo survivor who had become a confidant. They value us more as museum pieces than as contributors, Lena whispered, her voice tinged with bitterness as she poked at a gelatinous, engineered delicacy. Mika nodded, his expression grim. I felt it too. It's like walking on a razor's edge between veneration and vilification. Their conversation was interrupted by an announcement from Marin, who stood at the head of the table. His usual smile was replaced by a stern demeanor. There have been murmurs of discontent, he began, his gaze sweeping over the Cryo group. Let me remind everyone of Elysium's core principle, unity. We cannot afford division. The room tensed, the underlying threat clear. Unity, Lena realized, was synonymous with conformity. The next day, Lena decided to take a different approach. If the lab wouldn't embrace her ideas, maybe the people would. She organized a small demonstration in the community center, inviting Elysium citizens to see firsthand the potential of integrating Earth's botanical legacy with their own. The turnout was modest but curious. Lena explained the resilience of Earth's crops, their ability to thrive in adverse conditions, and how this could benefit Elysium. She passed around samples of engineered wheat and rice, their robust textures and rich flavors, a stark contrast to Elysium's usual fare. A month into her new role as an unofficial ambassador of Earth's botanical past, Lena's small demonstrations began to ripple through Elysium's cultural fabric. As she navigated the complexities of her new home, she recognized the power of grassroots movements in fostering societal change. One chilly morning, Lena set up her stall at the bustling central market, a place teeming with Elysium's diverse citizens. Her table displayed arrays of earth crops alongside traditional Elysian produce, illustrating the potential fusion of the two agricultural worlds. The air was filled with the mingling scents of exotic spices and the earthy aroma of fresh soil. Try this, Lena urged a skeptical young couple, handing them slices of an earth tomato, engineered to thrive in Elysian soil. It's tangier than what you're used to here, but it adds a robust flavor to any dish. The couple exchanged a glance, took a bite, and their expressions transformed from dubious to delighted. It's incredible, the woman exclaimed. I didn't realize food could have such zest. Encouraged by such reactions, Lena continued her outreach with zeal, her days filled with lively discussions and teaching sessions on crop rotation, soil health, and sustainable growth practices, a stark contrast to the technology-reliant methods Elysium favored. However, her increasing popularity wasn't without its detractors. Joran, still skeptical, confronted Lena as she packed up one evening. The market was quieting down, the sun casting long shadows over the now empty stalls. Lena, your project's creating a stir. It's not all positive. You're stepping on a lot of toes. Joran's tone was accusatory but tinged with concern. Lena faced him, her stance firm. Isn't the point of science to provoke thought and innovation? If we only follow one path, we risk missing others that might be better. Joran sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. It's not just about science, it's politics. You're challenging more than agricultural norms. You're questioning our way of life. Recognizing the weight of her actions, Lena nodded slowly. Maybe it's time your way of life was challenged. As tensions grew, so did the support for Lena's initiative. A turning point came when the governing council invited her to speak about her integration efforts and the implications of her agricultural blending. Standing before the council, Lena presented her case with a clarity born of conviction. Honorable members, Elysium was founded on the principles of innovation and adaptability. What I propose with integrating Earth's crops is a return to these principles. We have an opportunity to enrich our diets and strengthen our ecosystem. The chamber buzzed with whispers. Marin, a senior counselor known for his conservative views, raised a hand. And if you're wrong? If these changes disrupt our systems? Lena's response was measured. Every significant advancement carries risk, counselor. But stagnation is a greater threat. Diversity in agriculture, as in society, ensures resilience. 3 seasons had passed since Lena's integration initiative took root. Today was the Harvest Festival, and for the first time, it showcased a blend of Earth and Elysian crops. The experimental farm was a vibrant tapestry of green, stitched with the colors of both worlds, a testament to Lena's tireless work and the community's growing acceptance. The festival air was crisp, carrying the fresh scent of tilled earth mixed with the festive aromas of cooking food. Stalls lined the fields, displaying an array of dishes that blended ingredients from both planets. Lena walked among them, her heart swelling with pride as she watched Elysians and fellow Earth descendants mingling, their conversations a lively blend of curiosity and shared discoveries. "Lena," called a familiar voice. Turning, she saw Joran approaching, a smile playing on his lips, an expression she'd come to see more often. He gestured towards a nearby stall. "You have to try the casserole they've made with your tomatoes. It's, what's your word, phenomenal." Together, they sampled the dish. "I must admit, I was skeptical," Joran confessed, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. "But you've brought more than new crops to Elysium. You've brought a new spirit." Lena's gaze swept over the festival. "It's about more than just surviving on this planet, Joran. It's about thriving together. This," she gestured around them, "is the proof that integration is our path forward." As the day progressed, Lena was invited to give a speech. She stood before a crowd larger than any she had addressed before, the faces before her a mix of every faction on Elysium. Clearing her throat, she began, "Today, we celebrate more than a successful harvest. We celebrate the strength of diversity and the bonds it can forge." Her voice carried over the crowd, clear and strong. "Look around you. See what we've achieved by embracing the unknown and weaving it into our lives. We are no longer relics of the past or curiosities to be pondered. We are integral threads in the fabric of this society." Applause broke out, and Lena let it wash over her, a physical affirmation of her words. "Let us continue on this path," she continued. "Let us blend our traditions and knowledge as we have our crops. Together, we are crafting a world richer than any of us could have imagined." As the applause faded, an elderly Elysian woman approached Lena, her eyes gleaming with unshed tears. "Thank you," she said simply, her hand clasping Lena's, "for showing us that change can be beautiful."